Well, me as an older cousin, I would always tell him, nobody knows your story.
44, Terrance Roberson.
And one day, you know, God's gonna open up the door and an opportunity for you to tell your story, you know, because people will pass judgment on you and they really don't really know what you had to go through to get where you're at.
I like to dedicate this game to my mother, you know, who made it possible for me to be here.
You know, all you see him dribbling the ball, you see him dunking.
This was just a tremendous effort by Roberson. First of all, to realize where he is on the floor, have good body control.
That's a Kelser play. I remember seeing that up at Michigan State.
But I couldn't do, yeah, maybe at Michigan State, but I couldn't do that in the 9th grade.
You see him, you know, doing a whole bunch of stuff that he loves to do, but in reality, he's hurting.
He really wanted to go to Michigan, and they backed off, I guess, an early start, and here he is with the big jam.
You just don't know, like, it's like a movie, man. It's like you wouldn't understand until you go through it.
State Champs Legends is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Legends is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association and Hungry Howie's.
Saginaw is a city of fewer than 50,000 people, but has produced a number of professional athletes, including NBA standouts like Draymond Green, Jason Richardson, and Mark Macon. And as the 80s came to a close, there was no doubt that a young boy from the South Side was going to be Saginaw's next big thing.
I was an older guy playing on the 11 under AAU team, and Terrance had to be at least about 6 or 7. He came in the gym to play with the older guys, and at the time, you couldn't tell he was that young, and he got some playing time, and he was tough, and I knew that kid was going to be special to him.
4 years younger than you, he played on your AAU team.
Yep.
Terrance went to Central Michigan for a basketball camp, and as an 8th grader, he won the dunk contest. As an 8th grader, he won the dunk contest.
So I remember when we went to Tennessee, and I remember this team from Philadelphia was like, where y'all from? We was like, Saginaw. You know Terrance Roberson? I was like, this man is known everywhere. This man is known. It wasn't on social media or nothing then. Once he started getting the letters when we was in junior high from Minnesota, Missouri and stuff like that, it was a done deal. Oh, you're going to the NBA.
That was expected to be his final destination, but the big question was, where would Terrance go next? Being a Southside kid, Roberson was expected to continue the family tradition and attend Saginaw High. But in the early 90s, 9th graders in the Saginaw School District attended middle school, meaning the freshman phenom wouldn't be allowed to play on the varsity team. Well, that wasn't the case at Buena Vista. So the chance to play right away and this car ride conversation with his mom years back led the 6'7" freshman to be a Knight.
She just asked me, you know, when I get to high school, what school I want to go to. And of course, I said Saginaw High. And she was like, nah, I think BV would be a good, you know, a good school. You know, you and Coach Reed, Coach Reed a good guy and this and that. And so she said, when you go to high school, I want you to go to BV. And you know, we talked, not to say that it was gonna stick, but she didn't make it around and really, you know, see me go to high school. So I just felt like that was the thing to do for her.
So when you heard that he was coming to BV, what was the talk among all you guys?
Well, we figured they'd win the state title. Like, you know.
Roberson joined a powerhouse lineup that included Chester Searles, Shedrick Morrell, and Raymond Roberts. And he did not disappoint. The 14-year-old averaged 15 points and 10 boards per game.
That took me by surprise. I knew he was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be that good.
When you first saw him, did you think right then, oh my gosh, this might be the best player I've ever seen? Or?
Yes. Because right away he was the best player on the court. immediately on a court that was filled with great players.
Terrance became the first ninth grader ever named to the Saginaw News Dream Team, and he helped Buena Vista get to the Palace of Auburn Hills for the Class B state title matchup against Calvin Christian.
They got a man long.
The first layup, yes.
You believe that?
And down there at the end was Robinson.
Okay, the young fella, do you have proof of identification? You don't play like a ninth grader.
The freshman scored 10 points and grabbed 8 boards as BV beat Calvin Christian 54-44 to win its first state title since 1989.
When he first won that state championship, his freshman year, I seen him in the mall. He was signing autographs for everybody. For every little kid that came up to him, he was signing autographs. And that made me proud as a brother. He made it, he did something.
It was like a dream come true, man. It was like a dream come true because it's crazy because 2 years before, well, like a year before I got to high school, I went and I saw BV play against Chris Webber. And that's when Saginaw played against Jalen Rose. And then, so I was at the game and I'm, you're a kid and you're like, man, I wanna, my time coming. You just thinking that way. You don't know if it's gonna come or not. And my time really came.
And it was only a matter of time before every college coach in the nation took notice. And that happened later that summer at the ABCD camp in Pasadena, California.
That's when I kind of arrived on the scene nationally. You got this freshman going up against Felipe Lopez, Charles O'Bannon, Antonio McDyess, Marcus Camby, and the list goes on. And here I am, a little freshman kid from Saginaw, only freshman probably at the camp, and I'm working.
You got like one thing from that camp that you remember?
Yeah, I made the All-Star game. I made the All-Star team. I made the top 20 All-Star. I made the top 20 on the main floor. They had All-Star games over here and over there, but to make it on this middle floor, you had to be doing work. Yeah.
So no in particular, you didn't like jam on anybody or anything?
Nah, I used to dunk on everybody. I used to dunk on everybody. That was my thing. I used to dunk on everybody. I ain't gonna lie.
And if you thought Terrance and the Knights dunked on Michigan in the 91-92 season, well, they posterized the state in 92-93. With nearly every player back from the title team, BV plowed through the Class B tournament, winning by an average of 26 points per game, which led them back to the Palace for a chance at back-to-back state championships.
The Michigan High School Athletic Association is proud to present the Boys Basketball State Final.
The Knights of Saginaw Buena Vista are no strangers to the state high school finals. Yesterday's semifinal win over unbeaten St. Clair Shores Lakeshore sends Buena Vista back to the Palace this morning, looking to repeat as the Class B state champs. It won't be easy. Muskegon Heights, a semifinal winner here over Flint Powers, lost by just 2 at Buena Vista during the regular season. The state high school Class B championship game up next, live from the Palace in Auburn Hills.
And this time, it wasn't close. Roberson dominated with 14-7 as BV went back-to-back like Jordan 96-97, clobbering Muskegon Heights 69-52 to finish undefeated, part of a 55-game winning streak that spanned 3 seasons.
Was it almost easy to you? Or?
Yeah, it wasn't hard, but I don't want to just sound too overconfident, but it wasn't hard at all. Like I say, we had a good team too. It wasn't even all about me. We was, like I say, playing with Cedric Morrell. He made the game easy anyway. Because he was just that good.
But make no mistake about it, T-Robe was the man.
Colleges will be drooling over this kid. He is one kind of sweet player.
The super sophomore averaged 17 points and 13 rebounds to not only earn all-state honors, but Parade Magazine second-team All-American, an accomplishment he'd achieve an incredible 3 times.
He's one of 4 players in the history of Parade Magazine to be All-American 3 times. And you look at the 4 players, it's Alonzo Mourning, Kenny Anderson, and Patrick Ewing.
And then it's me. Since 95. Ain't been done since 95. I remember waking up in the paper and I saw it. I said, man, that's a great class to be in. I'm telling you. Hey.
Man, you just had to be there to see it, man. He just was a special dude, man. Like, wow. It was a pleasure playing with him. He was more like a Greek freak back then, you know. How he used to play, he can bring it up, he could shoot a lot better than a Greek freak. He didn't back down from nobody. He was amazing talent, you know, and he loved to have fun. You will always see that big smile, that $1 million smile on his face, you know.
Roberson was the 7th-ranked high school player in the nation in the 1995 class, headlined by Kevin Garnett, and he was the jewel of the Michigan class, which was considered at the time to be the best ever. But with the personal accolades rolling in, his personal life began spiraling out of control.
I just started doing things that I knew I wasn't supposed to do. I probably was doing them my first 2 years, but they was undercover. By my junior year and my senior year, I didn't care who I did it in front of. By my senior year, it was a tragedy by then. I ain't had really nobody, you know, taking me to, you know, to the gym, saying go shoot 1,000 shots. But I had a lot of people saying, here go $100. Here go this bag of weed. Here go a drink. Here go a car.
Terrance says marijuana use completely changed his attitude. And with BV losing games for the first time in his career, things came to a head in the 1995 regular season finale against the eventual Class A state champ, Flint Northern. Roberson was pulled late in the game for shooting a 3 after head coach Norwayne Reed asked him not to. The pair then got into a verbal altercation on the bench.
He told me if I didn't like what he was saying to leave. And like I said, my emotions took over. My emotions took over. And I just took my jersey off and left. Worst mistake I ever did. Worst mistake I ever did.
Roberson was kicked off the team. His career at Buena Vista was over, and the once favorite to win the Mr. Basketball Award was completely left off the ballot. He was also left off the McDonald's All-American team. Terrance was labeled a head case, and with a low ACT score, major colleges like his dream school, Michigan, began losing interest.
It just goes to show you, man, one incident can ruin your whole life. That's all it takes is one. You could be on top of the world, and you do one thing. One thing, you don't even gotta be just one thing. And your whole world become clashing. I lost everything. No McDonald's All-American. That was big to me, you know? All my life. I went to go see Mark Macon at the McDonald's All-American in Philly when he won the MVP. And that day I just told myself, I'm gonna be in this game. I'm gonna be here.
Terrance had people trying to steer him in the right direction, like his father and uncle. But the person he really wanted and needed by his side was taken right in front of him when he was 11 years old.
And my mom, you know, she was a real church going. She did hair. You know, she had her own beauty salon. She was 31 years old, real successful. We go to church and she up talking. It was her night. We fellowship with another church. And she just was up talking. And she telling everybody she loved, you know, how does she love me, and, you know, how she tell me she love me, and, you know, tell your kid that you love them. And it's all about love, everything about parents and kids, and, you know, everything, the whole nine. And all of a sudden she just say, I'm coming. I got a couple more things to say and I'm coming. And she said a couple more things, and oh man. She said a couple more things, and then she just fell dead. She just fell to the floor. And you just don't know, like, it's like a movie, man. It's like you wouldn't understand until you go through it, you know. So I walk up on her and I'm just looking at her, you know. They got her blouse open and she ain't moving. She's just there. And yeah, that was it. That was it, man. We get to the hospital and wasn't nothing they could do for her. They just basically said she had a heart attack. And right then, that's when everything just took a turn, man. I don't know. That's when, you know, that's when everything just took a turn.
I think that crushed him, and I think he never recovered from that. I think that's where a lot of his bad decisions and stuff came from. If she was still present, I think some of the bad decisions wouldn't happen.
You know, people deal with stuff differently. That's the way he probably dealt with stuff. You know, his mom wasn't there to keep him in his place, even although his grandmother and his granddad did a great job, and his father did a great job with him, you know, but ain't nothing like that motherly love.
They don't know the obstacles that he had to go through at 11 years old, and you see your mom, you know, pass right before your eyes, and everybody, you know, loving you. They love you for what you can do, but to actually love you, you know, do they really? Yeah, I mean, if I couldn't dribble a basketball, would you love me?
Well, Roberson found someone who did. Jerry Tarkanian, the coach known for giving second chances. Terrance got his at Fresno State, and he thrived, becoming the second leading scorer in school history with nearly 1,700 points.
And he loved it there. He scored in double figures all 3 years he played there. He's in their top 10 in points, rebounds, three-pointers. Just had a phenomenal career.
Roberson then played professionally overseas for 11 years, and his NBA dream did come true, appearing in 3 games for the Charlotte Hornets in the 2000-2001 season.
I did make it. I did. And I did, you know, and as a kid, you don't say like, you know, I'm gonna make it to the NBA and I'm gonna stay 10, 20 years. You know, as a kid, I'm gonna make it to the NBA. And I made it.
Once his playing days were done, Terrance moved back to Saginaw in 2011 and began working at the Wolverine Secure Treatment Center, a juvenile detention facility where the sociology major helped counsel troubled youth, using examples from his own life to try to make a difference.
I chose to do some things that I knew was wrong, and it was, you know, it led me down the wrong path. The only reason why y'all seeing me work here, because it was my fault. You know, it wasn't nobody else's fault. I can't blame nobody else. It was my fault. So for you to see me working at this juvenile center, you know, listen to me, man, because I got a lot of knowledge for you, man. You know, you talking to somebody that's supposed to be a multi-millionaire, you know. And I'll never forget my daddy coming to me one day and he asked me, what if somebody came to you right now and said, if you quit smoking weed, if you get good grades, and you just do what you need to do, they'll give you $1 million right now. You know, man, I said, well, I died. He said, so what you think they doing to you? What you think they doing? They ready to give you millions. Well, here you is want to follow behind such and such and such and such and do such and such. But you know, I'm a kid, that really didn't, you know, hit me, you know what I'm saying? Until I got, like, damn, that's what my daddy was talking about. Like, damn, if you just be disciplined.
Do you feel like this all happened for a reason? Like this was your mission to come back here and help the kids who kind of were where you were at?
You know, I can remember like 4 years ago, me being by myself one day, and I just asked God, what was my purpose? Like, I didn't know. You know, I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know what I was here for. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. And I just asked him to show me.
And that led Roberson back to the hardwood, where he took up an old friend's offer to combine his love for helping kids with his love of basketball.
When he stopped playing, I said, bro, you got to come help me out. You got to come help me out. You know, help me coach or just get time, just come in the gym. You know, and it was a blessing for him to even come.
After one season as an assistant at Saginaw High, Roberson was given the reins to his own team for the first time, this season as the freshman coach at Arthur Hill.
It's a great spot for him and a great spot for those kids to learn from someone who was one of the greatest high school basketball players in the country. Not only has been coached by some of the greatest coaches, but he made mistakes along the way. Learn from my mistakes, and you can achieve, you can do great things.
He know what he's talking about. Right. He can tell me to do something, I ain't gonna wanna do it. After I do it, it come out great success. I just follow behind him. Great role model guy, you know. I didn't tell him situations that I won't tell nobody else, stuff that happened, because he can relate.
They all know they can come talk to me, and that's what my team gonna understand. It's bigger than basketball, man. You know, we have conversations. You know, I done cried with a couple of them, you know what I'm saying, just on some real, like not even knowing that it was gonna come down to that, just speaking.
Go faster than that.
If you don't have self-discipline, if you don't have motivation, if you don't have the will to want to succeed, if you don't have role models, if you don't have people come be in your ear, then it's gonna be hard, you know, and that's what I'm here for.
It's not about how you start the race, it's how you finish it. And I think he's finishing strong now, just as a person himself.
I just love working with kids, man. It's just a fun, man. Like they bring life back into you, man. You know, it's like my pleasure. That they think that I'm doing something for them, but really they doing something for me.
State Champs Legends is presented by Lawrence Technological University. LTU offers over 24 varsity sports for men and women, along with several dozen world-class undergraduate programs. Athletic and academic scholarships are available. Recruit yourself at LTUathletics.com. Legends is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. And Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor.